And it is a wonderful Friday morning here in Montrose. I am Tanya Maddox, and welcome to Montrose Matters Live. I have Katie Galvan, and I'm pretty sure I mispronounced her name, but she'll correct me soon here, in the studios today from Hope and Home. And we're going to talk all about Hope and Home foster care and adoption agency and why they're here in Montrose now. But before we do that, I wanted to give a special shout out to our sponsors. Thank you so much to Elevate Fiber, to River Valley Family Health, and to Our Town Matters for underwriting Montrose Matters Live. We hope to bring you great programming week in and week out. So there are some fun events coming up. The FAB, and that stands for About and By Women. The awards nomination deadline is April 29th. So if you want to nominate a fabulous woman for either CEO or President of the Year, the Game Changer Award, Lifetime Achievement Award, and others, please go to events.ourtownmatters.net and submit those nominations before April 29th. Okay, you know, DMEA is always trying to outdo everybody, and guess what they're doing now? $30,000 grants that they are sending or giving to local small businesses. But you have to submit your application online by May 10th. So if you want a part of that $30,000 grant that DMEA is giving out to small businesses, go online to dmea.com and submit your application. That's a lot of money, Katie, right?
That's a lot of money.
Thanks again, DMA. Oh, and on May 14th, Fab Women again. So it's the actual conference and award ceremony. You have a couple of different options. So to attend Fab, you get a full day pass to hear all of the speakers. We have amazing speakers, and one coming all the way from Charlotte, North Carolina. Her name is Kelly Burns, and Kelly is the owner of Lucky Dog Bark and Brew. And it's not just one, but there are 3 locations, and this entrepreneur has an amazing story to tell. So be sure to register for the Fab Awards. And then Habitat for Humanity. Oh my goodness, there is going to be a community dinner on Main Street in Montrose. Yes, they're shutting down Main Street to host this great community dinner and fundraiser. So make sure you put September 25th on your calendar. And someone's turning 100. Katie, you're too young to even know what 100 might even look like, right? Yeah. But the Rotary Club, the Greater Montrose Rotary Club, is turning 100 or has turned 100. And they're going to celebrate on November 6th. It is going to be a gala to remember. My understanding is if there was a favorite decade of yours, it's time to go ahead and get some of those clothes out, because you will be able to come in costume. But no, with all seriousness, the 100-year gala that's happening on November 6th is sure to be one for the record books. So those are the upcoming events. If you have any announcements or events that you would like us to air on Montrose Matters Live, be sure to email us at hello@ourtownmatters.net. Now, we've got something new for you today. Drew, can you put that picture up of little Maggie Taylor? Yes. So we received a great photo of little Maggie Taylor sitting and watching Montrose Matters Live. Mom and Dad, Bud, and Amy Taylor submitted this photo, and guess what we have for little Maggie Taylor? Little Maggie Taylor is going to get a onesie. Yes, a Montrose Matters Live onesie. So we should, that's going to be real fun. And if you have any other photos, you make sure that you guys send those to us, and we will air those on the show as well, whether it's groups of you all watching or little ones like little Maggie Taylor watching. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back to talk to Katie.
Employees, and we were in a double wide trailer with 4 exam rooms. So that's where we started, behind an elementary school, really focused on taking care of those children. It was a school-based clinic prior to us becoming an FQHC. But very quickly, we realized the community needed a lot more support, a lot more access to healthcare. So in the last 8 years, we've grown to 3 different sites. We have 104 employees now, and we're taking care of about 6,600 unique patients a year.
Katie Galvan. Did I say it right this time?
Yes, you did.
Good. Because Katie Galvan. I've been wanting to talk to you for a while. So Hope and Home, it's a foster and adoption company, but you guys are new to Montrose. First of all, will you tell us a little bit about Hope and Home?
Absolutely. So Hope and Home started in Colorado Springs about 20 years ago. Our director is Ross Wright, and he just has an amazing heart for kids. I started with Hope and Home. We started looking into Hope and Home to be licensed ourselves about 15 years ago or so. Wow. We were very young. I didn't really know what we were getting into. But we just loved their whole mission, their mission of community and support. And they're faith-based as well, which we loved as well. So we got involved with them and just loved everything about it. And then we moved.
So you were in Grand Junction during this time?
Colorado Springs.
Colorado Springs,
yes,
okay,
yeah.
Sorry. I'm jumping ahead. I do that often.
So I grew up in Junction. We moved to Colorado Springs, was where we started our family and got involved with Hope and Home. And then my husband got a job here in Montrose, so we moved here and kind of put the brakes on foster care for a while, knowing that we'd get back into it. And then, we were kind of thrown into it in one way or another, and then was approached by Ross last year and asked if we wanted to head up a Hope and Home here in Montrose, which I was just ecstatic about because we missed that community and everything that Hope and Home brings. So
good. So you guys have a servant's heart, you and your husband, and I found out something really, really fun about Katie. And so her husband works for the Montrose Fire Department, but Katie has a pilot's license. What? So you have. Okay, your husband likes to fight fires, you like to fly, and you both you take this servant's heart of yours and you pour that into adoption. And you have a great, a story about how adoption has been important in your life and in your family.
Absolutely.
Do you want to tell us a little bit?
Yeah. So when we moved here, like I said, we didn't start foster care right away. We knew we would eventually end up doing that, but we were here for quite a few years, just getting settled, and had rented over and over. So we eventually moved into our home, and about that time, found out that my nephew was in foster care over in Grand Junction. So immediately we went into, thinking, okay, we're going to take him home. We had his car seat. We had everything ready to go. We already had a little one who was, less than a year older than him. So we were prepared, and we had to fight for him for over a year to get him into our home. But eventually we did, and he's with us now, and we've actually adopted him. So he's part of our family, and
that is a
it's
wonderful
awesome.
Story. So you had littles at home already, or at least one. Your little nephew you found was in foster care, and while you were trying to facilitate being, parents yourselves to your biological, you literally had to fight for
We had
your
to
nephew.
go to visits, once a week, and we were in Montrose, they were in Grand Junction. So we were driving to Grand Junction 3 or 4 times a week. We'd pick him up at the foster parents' house that he was at, go take him for a play date at McDonald's or whatever, just so we could have that relationship with him. We already had, but that was what the state had required us to do. So we literally had to everything almost was put on hold, which you can't really put life on hold, but as much as we could.
I've tried to do that, and it doesn't really
work.
No.
My husband was going to paramedic school. We had 2 older ones and a little one at home, and I was actually pregnant as well. So,
oh my goodness!
Looking back on it, it was tough, but here we are now, and you just get through it. So.
You know, so that's one of the better stories. Your nephew had someone fighting for him throughout this process.
Right.
That's not a typical story, is it?
No, it's not, unfortunately.
And it's unfortunate that, you know, that you probably experienced some traumatic or know about some traumatic stories. How do these children end up? Like, what? Tell us why it's so important now to be looking at foster care or adoption. Because what's the alternative, Katie?
I mean, these kids are our future, you know. I told myself I wasn't going to get emotional with this, so it's hard. But, I mean, these kids are our future, you know. And when we look at adults who are on the street, when we look at all these different situations and we think, how did they get there? I would never let myself get there. You have no idea where they've been, you know, and you know how many kids age out. I can't imagine, my daughter's 18 or 20. I can't imagine at 18 that she would have nowhere to go, that she, you know, that she would be able to sustain herself at 18 and not have a place to call home and come back to and have a mom and a dad. Just because they're 18 doesn't mean that they don't need somebody. So, you know, these kiddos will eventually age out of the system if there's nobody there to establish that relationship with.
And to give them a family.
Right,
and,
to give them
hope.
I mean, yeah, that's, you know, I personally can only imagine being hopeless as a child, being completely hopeless. And as a child, that's something that a child should never feel. No, they shouldn't feel hopeless whatsoever. So,
but Katie, so let me ask you this. So what about those naysayers that are out there who say, well, we're in rural Colorado. We don't have kids without hope. We don't have a need for foster care and programs like that. What would you say to them?
They don't see behind the scenes.
Yeah.
There is a huge need. And what happens is, these kiddos get shipped over to Grand Junction at the best, or over to the eastern part of Colorado. They get separated from their families. They get separated from their brothers and sisters. We had, gosh, I don't want to get the numbers wrong, I believe 7 sibling groups just this year. And a lot of those kids don't get to stay together. So if you can imagine being taken from your home, which you know, even if it is a bad situation, being taken from everything that you know that is, you know, comfort to you as much as it can be, and then being separated from the only people that you were going through that with that could be there for you, that's huge. So it's a huge need in this area.
So what you said, hopefully that continues to ring through for all of us, that we don't see behind the scenes. Right. So when we go home and we sit down to dinner or watch TV together, there are kids out there who don't have a family to sit down to dinner or play games or watch television with.
Exactly. They're fending for themselves, eating off the floor, or they're, you know, doing what they can to survive.
Right. So I heard a term, Katie, and it rang through. I was talking to Carlton Mason with CASA, and I think you know Carlton well, and he said, Tanya, a lot of these kids are couch surfers. What is that? What does that mean?
Yeah, these kids, like I told you, we had a kiddo come walk all night from Delta to Montrose. He walked and he said, well, I have a place to stay, but not until the evening. So I just walk around all day. And so he didn't sleep that night. He walked all the way. First went to a friend of my son's house down the street, and then he disappeared and ended up back at our house. And that's what his life was at that time. He was staying wherever he could stay at that moment because he was terrified of the alternative and, you know, where else, you know, he's got some type of abuse going on at home, you know, and then they're also terrified to be put in the system because, I mean, I guess let's face it, foster care doesn't have the nicest ring to it, but that's why Hope and Home is trying to change that. You know, we don't want it to be a negative feeling.
And I want to talk about, so, we discussed some of the traumatic events that you've seen and heard, and that truly exists out there. And Katie, you're so soft-spoken. You're like the sweetest, kindest person. And for you to experience some of these things or hear the plights of these children, I can't imagine how it doesn't tug at your heart. But that's why when Hope and Home called and said we were going to start a Montrose location, you jumped at the chance.
Absolutely.
So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, I want to talk about what Hope and Home is doing right here in Montrose. We'll be right back. Do you imagine taking your business to the next level? You can stop imagining. We can help make it a reality. Helping businesses elevate their brand is our business. Contact Our Town Matters today for a free marketing evaluation and consultation. Call 970-765-0913 or visit ourtownmatters.net.
Believe it, just like Gigfoot, Zero Lag Gaming does exist. The real myth now? Slow internet made you lose. So step up your game with Elevate Internet today.
All right, we're in the Montrose Matters live studio, and we are talking with Katie, who is the site manager for the Montrose area of Hope and Home Foster and Adoption Care. So, Katie, a little while ago, you said about a year, you received a call. And it was from Hope and Home, who said they were going to open up a Montrose location. What made you jump on that? And, well, tell us about the call. I want to know all the inside scoop,
So, what's funny is we actually went to visit Colorado Springs. This was right before, you started hearing about toilet paper disappearing, and you're like, what? Why?
Don't remind me.
You started hearing little bits and pieces about, like, this virus that could be coming, and we went out to dinner for probably the last time for the next year.
And we didn't know it would be the last time,
We didn't know, yeah. We saw Ross while we were there, and come to find out, he doesn't ever go to that side of town. And for us, it was, we don't ever go there either. So it was just a random meeting. And we talked to him for a little bit, and then a little while later he called, and my husband and I had been thinking about, okay, what are we doing with our license? What are we going to open up our home again? We knew we needed to do something with foster care. We didn't know what it was going to be. And we got a call from Ross, and he said, would you be interested in heading up the Hope and Home in Montrose? And I just thought, oh my gosh, this is awesome. This is what we've been waiting, exactly what we've been waiting for. So he said, I'll let you think about it. So we talked and thought,
But you didn't jump on it right away and say, well,
we're like, well, maybe. We were extremely excited because we knew what a huge asset to this community it would be. And not only would we wouldn't just be fostering, but we would be reaching out and getting families. So it wouldn't just be our family, it would be other families that we could pull into this community. So we are extremely excited to get that going. And
well, we are glad that you said yes at that chance meeting with Ross. So I'm pretty sure it wasn't all that chance.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're going to keep talking about Hope and Home and talk to Katie. But if you have any questions for Katie or myself, please go ahead and start logging in those questions, and we'll try and get those answered. Do you know, Katie, why he thought there was a need in Montrose? Was there anything specific that happened, or were there stats that they saw climbing?
I think they had seen a few kiddos come from this area, Grand Junction, and, just the Western Slope in general. They're the largest foster care agency in Colorado.
Okay.
They have over 200 kiddos in homes. So they get calls, like that every so often. And I think just meeting with him and him knowing, that we would jump at that chance, I think it was just meant to be. So
yeah. Well, how are you connecting here then? How tell me how you're reaching out to families, partnering with other organizations. How can we help?
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
what needs to be done?
So we are doing a spotlight at Grace Community Church this weekend, so Saturday evening and Sunday.
Okay.
Monday we're doing an event at Remington's, just an informational event. So, you know, whether it's interested in foster care and being a parent, or, you know, just in how you can help or how you can be there, or how, you know, we can all stand together in this. It's a good place to start. And we do a huge thing with Hope and Home that I love, is that we try to do community events.
Oh, nice.
We want to pull the community in and show everybody this isn't as scary as it seems. We're going to be at Funk Fest. We're going to be, you know, I hope to be just out everywhere.
I'm looking forward to getting out again. Oh my goodness.
Me too. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we're just going to try to be out there and, you know, hopefully work with some other organizations and just be able to show people that we're here, and, you know, this isn't so scary.
No, it's you know, you make it seem less scary. In the beginning, when we were talking about some of the traumatic events and so forth, I was getting depressed. I was thinking, oh my gosh,
it is a heavy subject.
It is a very heavy subject. But then when you weave the hope into it, it doesn't seem as heavy. And so we love that you're trying to partner with the community. If we wanted to support, you know, Hope and Home, what would we do? How would we just contact you? What's your greatest need right now in Montrose?
Our greatest need is families.
Okay. So families willing to open up their home.
Families willing to open their homes. And I think two of the greatest things about Hope and Home that make us different are our training. It's called Love to Nurture training. So it's beyond just what's state required. And I think that's what makes our parents so special as well. And then our community. You know, we really have that community of support. We offer support groups for our families.
Okay.
And we do like a teddy bear clinic where you have your doctors and nurses and medical field come in and do little things for the teddy bears so that these kids can be introduced to that in a good way. You know, because a lot of them haven't been to the doctors regularly. It's a scary thing. So trying to help the kids as well as being open to the community and having that support throughout the community. So we do have a website, hopeandhome.org, where there's lots of different ideas to whether it's donating or getting an idea of how you can help. But we're having a pajama drive right now, so we could always use pajamas. But yeah,
I don't know if I'm going to give up my Polar Express pajamas, you know.
No, well, not your very own pajamas.
Okay. Darn, I need to go out and buy new ones. All right, kids' pajamas.
So yes.
That's going to be fun. So tell me this, Katie, what does, because I'm sure that there are some folks out there who are wondering if their home would be, or their situation would be conducive to fostering a child. Is there a typical look of foster parents, or?
Absolutely not.
No?
I think us coming into it when we were, 24, 25, a lot of people veer away from it because they think, oh, our family is just too much.
Right.
You know, but absolutely not.
You haven't met my husband and my 8-year-old, so I'm not sure. And now we have the dog Cooper.
No, there is absolutely no such thing. If you have love in your home and you have a heart for kids, it's absolutely possible. It doesn't matter what your family dynamic looks like whatsoever. If you've got that, you know, if you've got that ability to give that love, then it's
well, let's give it a look then. Let me ask you this. So you have retired, you know, Bob and Cindy, and they are in their mid-60s. Would that, you know, they're empty nesters. There are no children in the home, and they, would that be conducive to a foster environment?
Absolutely. You know, actually, I hope that when we don't foster right now because we're working with everybody, so it's not possible, but I mean, I hope that when we're done doing this, that we're able to open our home when our kids are older. So
Wait.
If
When you're
healthy-
done doing this,
Yeah.
no, you can't be done.
I don't know if my husband knows that yet. That's my plan. So that's absolutely, if you're healthy and you're able to, and you have the heart for it, it's absolutely possible. And there's a need for sibling groups, a need for teens especially.
Okay.
And teens are not scary. They're not scary. They just need love. And there's just a need for all kiddos, you know. And so, yeah, don't ever write yourself off, because it's
good to know.
Absolutely. And kids are different. I mean, they need that difference, because kids are individually different, and they, you know, you might be the perfect home for them.
So, you know, you used another term that is new to me, sibling groups. Tell us about how and why that's unique and difficult to find foster care for them.
So you've got sibling groups. Sometimes you've got 2, 3, 4 kids that have been removed from a home at one time. And that's difficult to find a home that's able to take
that many
4 kids at one time, 3 kids, even 2. So, you know, if that's something that somebody can offer, that's amazing. Breaking up those siblings is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking for them. Nobody wants to do it, but when you've got to place these kids in homes, you can put one here and you can put one there, and hopefully people can, you know, that's the great thing about Hope and Home, is that we are a community, and hopefully people can connect their siblings and everything. But yeah, it's absolutely needed.
Okay. Well, I'm going to remember that term, because yes, I had 4 siblings, and how my single mom was able to do it, you know, raising 5 children on her own. I can't even imagine. Wow. But then I think about, if for some reason she couldn't do it and decided not to, would I even know all of my other, you know, brothers and sisters? So that is truly important. All right, it's been so much fun chatting with you, Katie. So I'm going to put her on the spot, because she is the sweetest person. But so my understanding is, you know, a couple of other people that work for the fire department, and they were part of a little thing called Dancing with the Stars.
Yes.
So my understanding is that you asked your husband, why weren't we involved? Why didn't we dance?
Yeah.
And what was his response?
He said, well, I didn't think you would want to do it.
So,
he put it all on me.
Of course he did. So for those of you looking out, watching today, if there's another Dancing with the Stars and we don't see Katie and her husband representing Hope and Home, then we're going to go find her and put her on the stage.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Katie,
no excuses.
No excuses this time. Katie, it has been a true pleasure. Thank you so much for choosing to come to Montrose. Thank you so much for what you and your husband continue to do with foster kids. And thank you for bringing Hope and Home to Montrose and being that beacon of hope for everyone here. It's been a great day here at Montrose Matters Live. We hope you tune in next week.